All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. How are you? Happy Saturday. Welcome to today's Microsoft Flight Simulator live stream. I'm your host, pilot, lead singer, and driver of today's plane. We are heading from Thruxton. We're going to go fly over Bournemouth, then to Vauville, to Carpiquet, and then on to Orly for our D-Day flight today. We're going to be talking a little bit about my former unit in Germany and what they did on D-Day. And then we'll land at Orly. Today's route. Looks like that. Although I have turned off the live weather so we have clear skies the entire way, so we can kind of see the area. And then, but anyway, I'll give it a few minutes, waiting to see if I think Kev's going to be flying with me today. He said he was going to be, so I'm waiting for him to show up in the chat and say, yep, I'm here, I'm getting things loaded up, or whatever the case may be. There we go. All right. And then there he is. All right. I'll give you a few minutes to load in, Kev. Get yourself situated. Going for sunny skies today so we can kind of see some of the terrain and whatnot. I'm ready already. All right. Let me go ahead and get in here and get the plane started up. And we'll go from there. So how'd the rest of your convoy go? Anything else exciting happen? Or not so much? All right. Let's see here. Nothing else exciting happened? Okay. This out the way. My tanks on. Add just a smidge of fuel, just to be on the safe side in case we do any loop around, go around or whatever to check out something. I'm just gonna put a little extra fuel in. Let's see what else we gotta do. We gotta crap the throttles just a smidge. Alright, let's get the ground power on. That on. Hello, Joseph. There's our ride for today. All right. Turn that off. We're going to go up to about 3,000 feet only today, Kev. Nothing. That way we can kind of see stuff and all that. Tune that in. Let's get our 3,000 feet dialed in. How you doing, Joseph? You all right? All right. I wanted to go for 2-5 all the way down yonder. Look at the. Hold on a second. No, there's a grass strip here. Yep, 2-5 is all the way down there. Okay. Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. Alright. I don't see you yet, Kev. Are you on a different server? I'm not sure I see you yet. I should grab that livery. Oh. This was from Four Simmers, I think, did this. I think they're the ones that made this livery. I don't remember. That's pretty good, I think.
Echo Golf Hotel Oscar traffic Hellcat 237 is taxiing to runway 25.
All right, let's all right, let's get over there. Oop, forgot one thing, didn't I? Good thing I checked. Good thing I remembered. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been going anywhere. This might be a very I should have checked the runway on this. Oh, I forgot to do one other thing, didn't I? All right. Once we're in the air and on the way, we'll talk about some stuff. I see Kev now, down there. I'm making my way there, Kev. Sit tight. Well, while we're taxiing, I kind of get things kicked off about what we're going to talk about. So when I was in Germany, my unit in Germany, 237 Engineer Battalion, every 6th of June, well, I was only there for, well, technically 3 D-Day sort of ceremonies, whatever you want to call them. We had like in the morning, so like say 6th of June was on well, like yesterday was on a Friday. So we get up in the morning, have a battalion run, and then we would do a, after breakfast and all, we would go to the theater. They had an award ceremony, and then we'd watch the movie The Longest Day. And what I was always told, or the impression I got, was that that what they showed in the movie is what my battalion experienced in World War II. Well, after having done some research about the movie and learning a little bit more about the history of my battalion, things were not exactly as they seemed. So, in essence, what we were led to believe was that the events that were portrayed in the movie, which was at Omaha Beach, was what our battalion had experienced in World War II, where in fact they had landed at Utah and didn't suffer nearly as bad as the folks who landed at Omaha Beach. Now, why we were led to believe one thing which wasn't true, I don't know. You know, if they just said, hey, we landed at Utah, we didn't, you know, the soldiers who went to Omaha Beach had a tougher time than we did. It was just that's just how things worked out. You know, it wasn't down to bad leadership or anything like that. It was just the luck of the draw, so to speak. All right. And then once we get there, I'll continue the conversation. I'll be kind of right behind you, Kev, because this is going to be I should have double checked these runways before I settled on Thruxton as our departure airport. But we'll make it work one way or the other. Kev's gonna try to clip the building on the way out. Alright, here it comes. Alright, lines there. Okay. Terrific. That's useless.
Nordholt approach Hellcat 237 is type 1 miles southwest of Echo Golf Hotel Oscar 900 feet. Request flight following. Hellcat 237 Nordholt approach. Squawk 1325. Squawk 1325 Hellcat 237. Hellcat 237 radar contact 2 miles southwest of Echo Golf Hotel Oscar 1,300 feet. Altimeter 29.92. Roger Hellcat 237.
Alright, so as I was saying, we'll talk more as we continue our journey. So, you know, we were led to believe certain things. Now, hello, Mela. Now, why that was, I don't know. But anyway, so it was always a big deal though. On, you know, the week leading up to 6th of June, the battalion commander, the junior officers would all go to Normandy. And what we were told was that the junior officers were responsible for briefing the battalion commander about certain events in the history of the battalion, World War II, leading up from the landing on Utah Beach and some of the events that happened as they went into mainland Europe and whatnot. And then they would come back and we would have this, you know, sort of what do you call it? Just it was like a we wanted to kind of honor the history of the battalion. Of all the units I'd been in, this was the only one that actually talked specifically about the unit itself.
Hellcat 237, contact Boston approach on 126.705.
They never.
Good day. 126.705 Hellcat 237. Goodbye.
Kind of slow
Boston
down
approach
so you don't
Hellcat 237,
get there too quick.
2,600 feet.
Hellcat 237, Boscom approach altimeter 29.9er. Radar contact. Continue.
So anyway, and then we do a battalion run, and then we would do the award ceremony and and all that. It was a big event, and I always kind of remembered that out of all the units I've been in, that was the only one that I felt like they wanted you to understand the connection to the past. What the battalion had done previously and stuff like that. Which was great. Because it made you appreciate where. Let me leave the mixture out here. Just gonna leave it out so we. Oh no! Go ahead and put on the. Not. Almost did it again. Almost did it again. Anyway, so that being said, anyway. Now, I was always led to believe that something had happened to our. Did it really shut off? Did I catch it in time? Because I'm kind of leaning to one side. I might not have caught it in time. Okay. That was the right engine. Okay. Now we almost did it again.
Hellcat 237, contact Bournemouth approach on 118.655.
Oh, I put on the wrong fuel pump too.
Good day.
Going to
Anyway,
118.655 Hellcat 237.
Okay, I think we're back on track.
Bournemouth approach Hellcat 237, 3,100 feet. Hellcat 237 Bournemouth approach altimeter 29.902 radar contact. Continue.
There's Kev. Oh, way up there. Okay. Anyway, I had a roast beef, chicken, onion sandwich last night. So anyway, as I was saying before, I just shut off the right engine this time by accident. So I was led to believe that the battalion commander had been either injured or killed during the landings on D-Day. Well, I couldn't find anything that suggested that. I couldn't find, when I typed, Googled his name, it didn't say that this person was KIA'd or injured on the 6th of June, for instance, or whatever the case may have been. Because the book that I found a book called Utah Beach by Joseph Balkowski. And he's got another book apparently that's also about the landings at Omaha Beach. it's like a two volume, two different. And so I happened to find this, and I flipped through it, and I found a couple pages about the battalion I belonged to in Germany, and it so happens that they talk about the Battalion XO was the one in charge of the landings on D-Day. I want to slow down here. I'm going to go too fast. Like anything I'm doing is slowing the plane down, other than maybe if I drop some flaps. Anyway, well, so the Battalion XO was responsible for taking charge of the landings at Utah Beach. Now, so this is the events, kind of what I understood them to be. The battalion was supposed to be going to India, was in North Africa, and General Montgomery, the British general, Monty as they call him, I think, he added Utah Beach to... Yeah, I know, I'm trying to slow down, Kev. I'm trying. Give me a break here. I'm trying to talk about history and keep the plane going, but... Anyway. So the battalion was in North Africa. Got orders to go back to Europe, to England. There's no more door. Oh well, I'm sorry. No, I can't. Anyway, went to Liverpool and started training there for their part in the landings on 6th of June. So they had to bring in about a half dozen specialized Sherman tanks that had bulldozer front ends added onto it. So that what they were supposed to do is they go off the landing crafts, get up on the beach and clear the rest of the debris or anything in the way of the follow-on forces. So that's what they did. Now, the XO apparently slipped on the deck of one of the landing craft that he was on, severely spraining his ankle apparently, and then he dosed himself up on some aspirin and managed to lead the organization on Utah Beach. Now, even though things didn't go according to plan, from what I read, and I won't quote the book exactly because then there'd be copyright issues and all that. Things didn't go according to plan, but because the way the tides were, the units that landed initially had shifted, and they ended up in a better position than where they were supposed to be, apparently. So the tides, I guess, kind of helped play a part in the fact that they were able to get to where they needed, get the beaches cleared, open things up so that the follow-on forces could start, landing. And so it was I guess it was just by pure luck that they, things worked out the way they did. But it wasn't down to, bad leadership or whatever. It was just the weather kind of just had its own sort of hand in things. you know. And so, um, but I was, you know, when I read that and I was doing some research about the movie The Longest Day that we watched, you know, quite a bit when I was in Germany. And they, one of the big criticisms of the movie was the fact that they had so many stars who were just there for a cameo in the movie. You know, like John Wayne was in it, all these big names. But everybody said it's just like they just had a cameo in the movie. It wasn't. A lot of people felt that it wasn't really something that the actual soldiers could relate to, you know. But anyway, I mean, it's a great movie. I still enjoy it to this day. But but that was the one, you know, we always watched that. And but yeah, I thought there would be more to the story, you know, and I think, you know, the guy who wrote this book, he did a pretty good job of explaining things, but it's very, you know, the information is very succinct. It's not a larger picture of everybody involved, per se. You know, it's like, this is who was in charge, this is what they did, then we move on to the other thing, you know. The only thing that he added that I didn't know, but it kind of seems... So there was 2 engineer battalions, my battalion and the 299th. The 299th was split up between Utah and Omaha. They suffered more losses at Omaha. Of the 650 men, like a quarter of that battalion was wiped out. 71 were KIA. So, but that's, again, that's not like it was just, Omaha was a much more difficult beach to land at. So I wonder if that's where the myth came from, that we had lost our battalion commander, for instance, or he was injured, or KIA amongst those, and so it became, for whatever reason, I don't want to say a stolen history, but, you know, there was somebody kept telling a different story, and over time it became, this is our history. Excuse me. And of course, there was no internet. You know, books on the subject were hard to come by. You know, you didn't have a lot of information. I hear Kev. Where did Kev go? I thought I heard him. Kev, where are you? I don't see you now. Something happened? Kev, where are you? Oh, there he is. So, I just, call it, I just thought it was interesting that we didn't get, like, what we thought was the actual story. You know, when you're a young soldier, and you go in there and you hear all this stuff, and you think, oh, this is like amazing, right? And then as you get older and you start kind of doing your own research, you kind of go like, I don't think I was told the whole story per se. You know. And that's what kind of surprised me when I looked it up. When I was reading this stuff, and I was like, okay, I thought this was the deal. This is where what we were told was the factual history, or whatever you want to call it. I would have rather that they just say, this is what happened, and I don't know, maybe it was like, I don't know if it was like they were ashamed of the history for some reason or another. It doesn't make any sense why that would be the case, why you would have to utilize the history of another organization to kind of make something out of nothing, create this myth or this, whatever you want to call it. And
Hellcat 237, contact London Center on 118.475. Good day. Going to 118.475.
but of course, probably the people that were in charge at the time,
London Center,
when I was in Germany,
3,000 feet.
a lot of them are probably
Hellcat
long
237
gone.
London Center altimeter 29.9, 2 radar contact, continue.
And I couldn't ask them, what was the thought process, or where did this information come from, kind of thing, just so that I could understand what why why you felt the need to kind of muddy the truth a bit. And I think part of it is, when I think about watching The Longest Day and also the Band of Brothers and all that, Hollywood and book writers tend to focus on things that there's more drama, or they create drama, they add to it in order to get people to watch or read their book or watch their movie or TV show or whatever. In recent years, since watching, and I've watched Band of Brothers multiple times, it's a great series. But as I understood it later on, what's his name? Stephen Ambrose had kind of taken the story and added a little flair to it, so to speak, I guess. And so when they made the TV series that they based the book, or that they used the book as their basis for the TV series, it was full of half-truths, I guess. And I think that's, part of the issue with Hollywood. They tend to take these stories and they, like Saving Private Ryan. Is it possible that there was a real life sort of Saving Private Ryan situation? Yeah. But it was, people loved that movie, but they added all this additional, when Matt Damon's character says, "Oh, I'm not leaving, I'm here now with my brothers, da da da," and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so wonderful." Most sensible people are like, "Oh, my other brothers are dead, and I'm the only living brother left. I'm out of here." But no, they were like, "Oh no, I'm not going. You can't make me." And so all these other guys got killed because of the fact that he wasn't going to leave. All those, the captain and all his rangers, all those guys that went with him to try to save this guy, a lot of them ended up dying. And it's just like, man, you know. So, anyway. But I think that's part of the issue, is that they 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 create this drama in order to sell books, sell movies. I mean, I read Band of Brothers well before the series ever came out. I thought it was a very good book. You know, Stephen Ambrose was like, he was a rock star in a way. You know, he wrote all these books about military history and whatnot. You know, it turns out he wasn't like the he may not have been as a great of a person as he was made out to be. You know, he had his flaws, and you know, he was trying to tell this story about Easy Company 506 and whatnot. It's just that unfortunately, I think people's reputation got damaged. You know, there was a lot of guys that were part of Easy Company when he was approaching them to talk to them, and I think a lot of them just didn't want to speak with him or anybody that was having to do with the book. You know, that it sounded like they weren't the true story wasn't going to be told. There was going to be parts of truth and parts of dramatic flair added to get people interested in what was going on. I mean, when I read about what my unit did in Utah, it seems kind of like bland in a way. You know, that's why I think when a lot of people do these D-Day flights and flight sim, their focus is on what the parachutists did, because that seems to be much more dramatic. Oh, these guys are in these planes and there's flak in the air, all this craziness is going on, and these guys jump out of a plane and land somewhere far from where they were supposed to, and they fight on from there. The end, you know, kind of thing. And it's like, well, there's more to it than that. You know, in reality, there's just more to it. And unfortunately, we tend to want to be drawn to the more colorful situations, I guess, is for lack of a better term. You know, so you know, but I think that's just, it is what it is. But it's you know, even if the truth is, well, okay, we landed at Utah, there wasn't a lot of resistance, you know, there was more injuries from trying to get off the landing craft, and people were slipping and falling and busting themselves wide open or whatever. Okay, if that's what happened, that's what happened. There's no need to create this, they were shot. Okay, were they really shot, or are you saying they were shot, or you know, are you telling somebody that you were shot? You know, kind of thing. So, yeah, that's, you know, but it's also, it feels in some ways, because people tend to focus on these other events. It's like, almost like, you know, nobody else did anything. It was only the airborne guys that did it all. You know, they were the only ones there on D-Day. No, there was a whole lot of other people that, just because they weren't jumping out of planes or whatever, doesn't mean that their part didn't matter. You know, it all matters. Everybody's part, whether they died on the beach or they made it all the way into mainland Europe and went home, everybody's part mattered. It's just that I think the people tend to be drawn to the more to different elements that, you know, that it's, in a way, I guess it's kind of like it's romanticized, you know. And when you're young, as a young soldier, you kind of buy into that. You go like, oh man, it was, they did all these fantastic things, and you know, they had to makeshift how they were going to clear the beach. Putting on what do they call it? Say it correctly here. Sherman tanks with dozer blades up in the front. You know, somebody was like probably just thought, well, yeah, this seems like it would make sense to in the mind of the people that were there, and yeah, exactly. I did walk to school in 80 feet of snow. So yeah, you're right, Kevin. You're right. But I think one of the things that my understanding was that Ambrose, as time went on, and they were like, as the World War II generation was getting older, and they were already starting to pass away, to get that history from the members of the 506, I think became important to him. But the drawback was that in his attempt to write that history, and I think his intentions were good, it's just that the way he went about it, I think, rubbed a lot of the guys the wrong way. And so they did, so he was kind of left to come up with his own, version of events based on what other people might have said, or they may have had oh, thank you, Mela, a vendetta against somebody. I know the guys at Easy Company, a lot of them didn't think the way that Captain Sobel was portrayed in the TV show. I didn't like him. I was like, damn, this guy, I wouldn't want him as my company commander. I know, it's alright, Kev. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that kind of officer. But other people said, well, over time we came to understand why he did what he did. And so a lot of the guys kind of ended up forgiving him, but it wasn't exactly portrayed that way in the Band of Brothers. So he gets a bad rap, and maybe part of that is deserved, and in other cases maybe not so much. It's hard to say.
237 contact breast center on 120.15. Good day.
Going to 120.15 Hellcat 237. Breast center Hellcat 237 3,000 feet.
Hellcat 237 breast
But I'm
center
glad I came across this book because it gave me a better sense of what my organization did in World War II. Even if it wasn't the most glorious, they fought tooth and nail at Utah Beach and all that kind of stuff. Now I have a better understanding of what they did. They still did their part, right? And for that should be enough, in the annals of history, that should be enough. But like when I was in Third ID, the only person, it was always Audie Murphy this, Audie Murphy that, Audie Murphy, like over and over, and it's like, was he the only person in the entire 3rd Infantry Division over the course of World War II? Of course not, but they prop him up as the standard. But only Audie Murphy could be Audie Murphy. Nobody else can be. You can look at his life and draw some inspirations, but I don't want to be like him. Only he could be him, kind of thing. But they would always, you should try try to be like Audie Murphy, you know. I'm like, why would I want to be like him? I want to be like me, you know. Maybe there's some lessons that, you know, that I think, okay, yeah, I can understand why we would want to do these things, but at the same time, you're just kind of like, no, I don't. Why want to give up myself in order to be somebody that I'm not? You know. Yeah, it just seemed odd. But I'm glad I came across this book, and I like to get his Omaha Beach one, just so that, because I think he, even though the stuff is very succinct, you know, and doesn't have a lot of longer detail, and I think a lot of the things that from World War II, a lot of those records and whatnot may not survive. So it's just partially, you know, is it all myth in a way? You know, what is true out of the myth? And you're right, Amela. That's good. You know, but that was one of the things that I didn't particularly care for in the Army, was this push to be, oh, you should be like this person. But why? Why would I want to be like them? Why can't I just be like me? Why can't my contributions make a difference? You know, why is it that you want me to be like somebody else who, you know, some people say, I wouldn't want to be like him. He wasn't that great of a person. You know, there's people I knew in the Army that they were certain that Audie Murphy was not the greatest slice of bread ever to wear the uniform. You know, but and nothing that you could say was going to change their mind, for whatever reasons. You know, the only other thing that Third ID talked about was the Marne River during World War I. The fact that they held the line while everybody else was retreating, they stayed there and fought. So that's why they earned their name, Rock of the Marne. They didn't give up the position. But okay, but that's World War I. Most people are kind of like, okay, what about World War? You know, that history, you didn't feel connected to it. You know, because that was the only explanation you got was, oh, we stayed there at the Marne River, and everybody else was running the other way, and we stood our ground. Okay, but that's all you ever heard. It wasn't like they talked about it. You know, like the anniversary of the battle at the Marne River. There was never any kind of connection. You know. Oh, Joseph's back again. Are you back in the States yet, Amela, or you still overseas? Hopefully you had a good visit with your family. So Kev, now, well, we'll take a break here from the history lesson, so to speak. The daily flights. Now I'm kind of keen on the medium, I'm not going to lie, but the short is Johnson County Executive to Manhattan Regional. I think both of those are in Kansas. Yep. That's 93 nautical miles. The one I am keen on is London City to Innsbruck, 509 nautical miles. Oh, that's right. I forgot you were going for that long. So, Kev, which one are you thinking about at 2 o'clock your time? for today? The short or the medium? Because I do love me some Innsbruck. Because it's a heck of... We've been there before. We landed there. We came in on one of the directions there into Innsbruck. I think it was you, me, Mustix, and somebody else. It was like a couple months back. I was quite happy with that flight yesterday. I did the medium in reverse because I wanted the Solomon Islands flag. Took the Honda jet. Man, that thing was really nice to fly. It's been a while since I flew it, but quite enjoyed it. All right, we should be making a left turn here shortly, I believe. Let's have a look. Yep. And then we should be passing by Utah Beach will be to our left. Okay, I was thinking about it. No, I don't know. Which one will it be? Will we be going to Kansas or will we be going to Austria? Alright, so we should be turning here. Yep. It's just about over the little airport here that we're using as a navigation aid. Like a little grass airfield, I think. Excuse me.
Hellcat 237, contact Jersey approach on 120.305.
That's right. I'm near Jersey.
Good day. 120.305 Hellcat 237. Goodbye. Jersey approach Hellcat 237 3,000 feet.
Hellcat 237, Jersey approach altimeter 29.9, 2 radar contact, continue.
The one you want to do the medium till Innsbruck? You sure? 509 nautical miles? Nope. There we go. Now we're turning. All right. There we go. Well, I'll do either one. I don't care, but I'm surprised you picked the medium one. Well, that means I gotta get the Avro RJ suited up, ready for flying. Give a quick shout out to Kev. I think most of you already are following him. In case you're not, Go give him a follow. I thought you were convoying sometime. Is that going to be after we get done flying today? You're going to go convoy for a bit, Kev? Alright, I think. Let's have a look at that. Where did you do that last night? So, oh, I thought you said something about it the other day about convoy.
Hellcat 237 contact breast center on 120.15. Good day.
I might go.
Going to 120.15 Hellcat 237. Breast center Hellcat 237 3,000 feet. Hellcat 237 breast center altimeter 29.9 radar contact continue.
I checked out the kind of looking for stuff to do up there in Providence when they get up there, especially on Thursday, since I'm getting there a little bit ahead of everybody. They have a School of Design museum there that in the evening from 5 to 8 is free of charge to get in. Oh, you're going to convoy, but no, that's what I kind of thought. You said you were going to convoy, but I didn't mean you were going to stream it. So you're joining some of the other guys. You guys are all getting together and doing your own thing. Well, that's cool. So yeah, I might go check that out Thursday evening. It's not very far from the Omni Hotel, apparently. So I may go check that out in the evening time for an hour or two. I thought about trying to take the train back to Boston, but a lot of people said the train stations, from what I read, are not very nice. Like, a lot of people are just kind of like, I wouldn't go there. So I think I'm going to just stay in Providence on Thursday, kind of walk around, have some dinner, and then I'll go up to the museum, that design museum, and check that out for a little while. And then go oh, you hop into who? Niges or Scotty? Okay. Nice. So I'm guessing. Well, anyway. Yeah, I just remember you saying something about it, so I didn't know what what your plans or whatever were. So you're doing that after we're done flying? Then you're gonna convoy with them for a while until it's flying time, or you're gonna do that after we do the second flight? Well, I can't control that part. I mean, I could turn the auto mod off, but then it would just, some people might go in there and start saying all kinds of nonsense, and it would distract from the stream. trying to deal with all that, so it's okay. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Alright, so we should be... Utah Beach should be coming up on the left here. Oh, the farmland. Oh. See, somebody in Farm Sim could make a whole area here. Look at all this. I know some people, you know, don't appreciate the auto mod thing, but one, I can't always expect my mods to be here to deal with it. So it's just better that I can approve or disapprove it, you know, as long as I can keep an eye on things, you know. I know. Alright, we should be, if I look in that area up ahead there, we should be, yep. Utah Beach to the left. And the airborne guys were all over the area here to our right and below us and whatnot. They got 418 landing at, oh. That's terrible, Kev. We're gonna have to revoke your license for that one. I do like this livery though. They have one that's a British themed one. But yeah, this looks pretty good, I think, for what the four simmers put together for this. It looks pretty good. Of course, it didn't have windows and all that, but there's the beach there. That whole stretch there, imagining is where, well, wherever they intended to land was not where they ended up landing, but it was along this coastline here to the left. You know, the paratroopers ended up capturing Carrington. You never said you weren't going to land. I wasn't. I'm landing at Orly. That was just a nav. I just used that as a nav point, that's all. LFPO is our final destination. I was just using that as a point of entry to come down nearby Utah Beach, that's all. You know, what I saw in that little, that was a smaller strip than the one we took off from, I think. I would like to go over to Normandy one day. That's on my bucket list to do, just once in my life, to see it in person. I really wish I had done it when I was in Europe. Tell you about what? Yeah, I would like to go here once and see it in person. But I think I would probably try to do it not on the anniversary of D-Day because I know that's usually like when there's way more people. But I would like to go see it once in life. I really wish I had gone when I was in Germany and just short with ramps at each. Oh yeah. Hmm. So you just basically did like a touch and go, huh? There is a D-Day museum, but I think that's more along where Utah or Omaha and all that was at, on the other side over there off the left lane. I would like to go see the museum and all that. Touch and blast on. I was surprised about my landing rate with the that Vision Jet. That was quite unexpected because I hadn't flown that in a long time, and I had to manually bring it down to land. And I thought I was going to be overspeeding the entire time, but no, I was surprised I got a negative 19 the other day. It was pretty good. Quite enjoyed that flight. Yeah, I'll fly the. If we're going to go to Innsbruck, I'm taking the Avro RJ this time for the flight. I don't. What are you going to fly then, Kev? Are you going to take the A320? What are you gonna fly? Yeah, the Honda Jet. Did I say the Vision Jet? The Honda Jet. Yeah. The Hoda Jet. That too. You know what I meant. You're gonna take the A320. Alrighty. I'm curious to see what the weather's gonna be like, which way we're coming in at. Because both approaches are quite challenging, but I remember when I think when I flew the, what's it called? The prop plane, the turboprop that we both liked for a while. Can't think of the name of it now. What's that turboprop that we liked? It was a two-seater, very fast, and then there was another faster version that you got or somebody got from flightsim.to. You know what plane I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of it right now. I think that was the first time I got a zero landing rate. It was at that airport. Vertigo. Yep, that's it. Vertigo. Thank you. Yeah. I remember coming in there. I was surprised how well that landing went, because that's not an easy airport to land at. But I'll see if I can get a good one with the Avro RJ. I'll have to swap out my throttles and all that. In fact, while we're still en route to our next airport that we're going to fly over. We have about 20 nautical miles to go, and then we'll turn for Orly, and then we'll put it on the ground. All right, hold on. I'll be right back, folks. Alright, I just had to grab the throttles. So once we get done, I'm going to swap those out, and I'll have to make my flight plan and sim brief. Joseph, you're going to want to watch that one later today, because we're going to take off out of your home airport, London City. You come and hang out in Kev's chat. You might learn something. This is some really nice countryside, though. I know it's all farmlands, but kind of reminds me a bit of being in Germany. We had vineyards right up the street from our barracks, from our little coast there. So we'll be back next Saturday. We got 2 flights next Saturday. We're going to take off from Denver and head to Bush Intercontinental. And then once we land there, we're going to take the Avro RJ, one of them, to from Bush Intercontinental to Birmingham, the one in America, not the one in England. We're not doing that long of a flight. It'll be like a regional flight, and then we'll have one more flight on the 21st, and that's going to be the long one. Get your snacks ready. JFK to Heathrow. JFK to Heathrow. That will be a bit of a long one, but we're going to get through it, and that will be it till I get home. I may not stream. Hold on, let me calendar here while we're flying along. Let's see, I get home on the 1st, so the 5th of July would be...
Hellcat 237, contact Breast Center on 124.8. Good day.
Let me see how I feel when I get home. How tired I am.
124.8 Hellcat 237.
But we'll get back to
Goodbye.
streaming on the 12th, the 19th,
Breast
and the
Center Hellcat
26th.
237, 3,000 feet.
And then
Hellcat 237 breast center altimeter 29.9.
into
2 radar
August,
contact. Continue.
we'll just keep going. So, but what we may do on those flights, I'm going to try to get some more countries visited that we haven't been to before. Get those knocked out. You know, it'll probably be some really kind of out of the way places, small little airports or whatever. We may do a couple, if they're very short flights, we may do a couple of those. He's going to land here at the airport we're using as our... I was going for another landing rate. I think you'll have better success with that one, Kev. How'd you do on that one? Oh, speaking of which, so I think we'll go ahead and put up the landing predictions for, because we should be turning here shortly for Orly. I'm going ahead and run that. Nice. All right. Well done. All right, so the predictions are started for our final landing here at Orly. Go ahead and get your predictions in. Got about 30 minutes. Go ahead and use up the last bit of fuel here in the main tanks. Maybe one day the winner of the landing rate challenge will get a Happy Meal with Joseph Adams as your prize. I have been reading about the history of the beginning history of the SAS, which is a pretty interesting book. I've been bouncing between that and my the book about Utah Beach. I just kind of tabbed the area where it talked about my brief unit history of what they did, but I want to read the whole book because I think it'd be very interesting to read it from beginning to end. I'd like to get the Omaha Beach one as well. read that. They do like to read about history and stuff. Oh, I need to put up. Oh, yes, I just forgot. We need to put on live weather now since we've done our. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Well, that definitely changed things. Look how. Ooh. Getting chased by a storm, it looks like.
Hellcat 237, contact Paris Center on 119er decimal
Looks like somebody else is doing a D-Day flight. C-47 back there.
119er decimal 825 Hellcat 237. Goodbye. Paris Center Hellcat 237 3,000 feet.
That definitely
Hellcat
changed things quite a
237
bit.
Paris Center altimeter 29er decimal 82 radar contact continue.
Alright, and just a little bit of throttle. Alright. See, the thing, there's clouds in my coffee, you know. Yep, I got the rains coming across my windshield now. Let's have a look at the weather at Orly. Five is still in play. 15 knot headwind. Ooh-wee. Oh lordy. 15 knot headwind. Kind of breaking through the storm now. thank you all for being here today. Greatly appreciate it. So yeah, 737-800 going from Denver to Bush Intercontinental. That's a former Continental Airlines flight. So I'll have the Continental Airlines livery for this 800. And then we'll be in the Avro RJ85. We'll reset for that flight and get into the other plane, get everything started up, plug in our information, skedaddle out of there, land in Birmingham. We'll wrap it up, and then then the big one on the 21st, and then you won't hear from me for a bit. Well, I'm going to post pictures on Discord and all that. But yeah, we'll do all that. And what else? That's it. So I probably won't, very likely won't be in anybody's streams while I'm up in Providence. If I do, I'll pop in and say hi real quick, and that's probably about it. And so we got a bit of a wind. Let's see. Let's have a look at the wind. Ooh, look at that. 26 knots here. One landing in a nutshell. You'll be alright, Kev. You'll be alright. Anything we could use? What's runway 25 have? Does it have any kind of? Oh, it does have an ILS approach. Is it 3,000 feet? So we're already there. Let's see. 111.75. 253 is final approach course. Let's do it. Let's put in some information, shall we? The final course. 253. Yep. This little valley here. Time. I did 7 go-arounds trying to find some runway. Ended up on the taxiway anyways. It happens. It's been known to happen. What can you do? I mean, sometimes where they mark where the airport is not where it is either. And that happened yesterday in the Solomon Islands. The marker is way off from where the airport actually is, and I had to look. I'm like, oh, there's the runway. Like, thankfully I could see the runway. But you know, stuff happens. That's half the challenge here, is to learn how to figure out where things are. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you're just kind of like, I'm just not seeing it. Or I know there's been times where I'm like, oh yeah, well, I see the runway, and then I go to turn, and then I'm like, where'd the airport go? I can't find the airport now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that flight later. That's going to be fun. We'll do the flight plan after we land here. Everything's wrapped up. Ooh, double rainbow. Look at that. Thanks for flying along, Kev. Appreciate it. A little snack.
Hellcat 237, contact everyone approach on 118.125. Good day.
Look at this weather.
Going to 118.125, Hellcat 237.
I'm sure the farmers will be happy that their
Every approach
crops are
Hellcat
getting watered.
237, 3,000 feet.
Hopefully not
Hellcat
too much.
237, every approach altimeter 29.84 radar contact, continue.
Looks like Riley Dingus is in the Raphael fighter jet. somebody says they're in a C-130 here. And that C-47 must have turned around and gone back to England. I know Firefly Airlines is doing a D-Day thing challenge. If you do a flight, you get a challenge thing done. I remember now. Apparently, my excuse me. Ugh, sorry about that. Okay, get that all out. My acupuncturist, she went to Japan for 10 days. Said it was really fantastic. Had a great time. Her and her husband went for 10 days. She said she could have stayed there for like another week or two. She could have afforded it. I'm sure she could, but time was more of the essence than anything. But yeah, she said it was a fantastic trip. Really enjoyed it. I'm kind of jealous. I would have liked. That's one place I'd like to go visit just once in my life. Boy, look at these green fields. Wow. Some really very different green. I like the contrast. That looks really good. Let's see, we are about 18 and a half minutes away. We'll get a little bit closer and we'll call into Orly. Make sure you get your predictions in if you want to. If not, it's quite alright. There you go, Joseph. Just because. You get a red card. See if he responds to that. Let's see where we are. Can we pop over yet?
Orly Tower Hellcat 237 is 48 miles west 3,000 feet with Sierra to land.
Hellcat 237 Orly Tower. Altimeter 29.85, wind 230 at 14. Make left traffic runway 25.
Fly left traffic runway 25 Hellcat 237.
Alright, there we go. We got our clearance. I guess he's not watching, because I would have expected a wow by now. I gotta double check something real quick. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break, folks. I'll be right back. I'll leave you outside the plane so you can enjoy the scenery. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. Just getting resituated here. couple things here to get ready for landing. Thank you, Mella. Just a quick break. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Let's have a look at what's on the node show. It looks like there's some kind of artwork up there. That's all, brother. Yeah. Looks really good. Part of the commemorative Air Force. There's me and my no-nonsense co-pilot. She never smiles. Doesn't like my jokes. We get a point for hitting that. Last year when I did a D-Day flight, I did fly the P-38, I think, underneath the Eiffel Tower. At least that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Nope. Need to send Joseph to her house. Nope. No, well, you know, I'm sure there's liveries that have, you know, the nose art, but, I thought there was, but nope. Oh, Senator, yeah, there, yeah, yeah. All right, let's get a. Guess we can get a few flaps now. Yeah, get a little bit of front end so we can start slowing this behemoth down. I was curious. I should have looked, but yeah, I don't know that it would be approved in the NSIM marketplaces, which is where I got this from. So I don't expect that they would okay that sort of stuff. Alright, so we're going to pass over Versailles, near Versailles. And once we get closer to Versailles, we can see the airport. They have them. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. You know, because sometimes you never know when stuff like that, they'll be like, yeah, that's not, you know, family friendly, whatever. Alright, predictions have ended. If you didn't get your vote in, too late. It's too late, baby, now it's too late. Blah, 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 blah. Why not? Oh. Screen just froze up. Oh, this is not good. Come on, unfreeze. Thank you. Phew. Okay. Let's have a look at her. There's that. Let's have a look at where we are in relation to. Alright, so we are almost. Should be. Yep. Let's go ahead and turn on that heading. Ooh-wee. Is it clear over there, Kev? Alrighty. We'll break through here eventually. Okay, looks like it's starting to thin down here. That's why we're. Alrighty, smarty pants. We'll get there. Okay. That's Paris-Orly right there. Yep, got it. All right. Our runway is down at this end over here. That's the one we're looking for. So go ahead and follow this out for a little bit. I'm gonna start turning. I think Kev, where did Kev is there. All right. Mama didn't raise no dummy, Dad did. Oh, God. Okay. Go for it, Kev. Ah, look at that. We have the wrong frequency. All right, Kev's going in for landing. We're going to let the ads play out, and then we'll turn in for landing.
Hellcat 2 tree, 7 wind 2 tree 9er at 1-4. Cleared to land runway 25.
Clear to land runway 25 Hellcat 2 tree 7.
I see what we're going to do. I know. intentions are we're gonna follow this road up. I'm gonna try to do that. This main thoroughfare, or not? No, that's not a road. No, can't use that. I thought it was a road. That's part of an airspace. It looks like. How'd you do, Kev? Did you make it? Looks like you did. We can use this road though. There is a road. We're about to intercept it. There it is right there. There we go. I see runway lights now. Hello, Sue. How are you? Nice to see you. Doing all right? You're here just at the end. Always the best time to come in and watch the landing part. Look at that. There's a landing gear. Unlocked. Good. I appreciate it. How'd you do, Kev? Did you have a good landing? Yeah, it's been a good flight. We've had, well, we had some, I put on the clear weather so we can see kind of the areas and whatnot, and then, we put on the live weather again, and for landing here in Paris-Orly. Try to, well, I can't, how can I beat it if I don't know what to try to for, Kev? I mean, I can look it up real quick, if that's how it is. Negative 8. Okay. I'll see what I can do, Kev. Good, very good. Looks like you got rain there right at the airport. Like, yes, absolutely. That's how I felt when I got that landing in the Honda Jet last night, or yesterday afternoon, actually. I was very pleased. Thank you for the bids, Kev. Appreciate it. Of course I want to look it up. How am I going to beat it if I don't know what to beat? You just said I got a -8, and I'm like, okay, now I know what to shoot for at least. I think that headwind is definitely making a difference. Wow, that's a nice area. Wave to the nice folks here. Hey. Puzzle Girl's counting on me. Sue's counting on me? Oh, man. Well, I can't let Sue down. She'll never forgive me. She may never speak to me again. She'll be like, oh, I can't watch his streams. He landed like a complete dummy. I can't have that sort of stuff in my life. Oh, happy lights look good. Got 2 white, 2 red. We won't be dead. Ooh, that wind is a doozy today. You never know, Kev. You never know. missed something else today. Come on. Oop. We got a 89.
Hellcat 2 tree
I'll take
7
it.
exit runway when able.
89. Nah, that was alright.
Hellcat 2 tree 7 contact ground on
89.
121.705.
Going to 121.705
We'll get a picture of
Hellcat
that.
237.
For prosperity. Yeah, that was all right. I was hoping for a 7 just to give Kev a well, let me go park over here by Kev real quick and get a picture there. Thank you, Mella. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here during your trip. Much appreciated. Your plane looks like it's in the air a bit, Kev. I don't know why. Hey, you're like floating just a bit, but that's alright. Got it. Thank you for sitting tight so I can get a picture. There we go. Alright, let's talk to them about parking. 705. Ah, to the gates we
Orly
go.
ground Hellcat 237 taxi to the gate.
Hellcat 237 taxi to gate uniform 5 using taxiway Whiskey 5 Whiskey 1 Lima 2 Whiskey 2 Lima Papa.
Helium in the tires.
Taxiing to
Okay.
gate uniform 5 using taxiway Whiskey 5 Whiskey 1 Lima 2 Whiskey 2 Lima Papa Hellcat 237.
Alright. Let's go find a parking spot here. Thanks for flying along, Kevin. Greatly appreciate it. I don't really expect that you're going to want to fly on the 21st because that's going to be a long haul flight. That's okay. I'll be back later today. 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central with Kev. We're going to go do the flight from London City to Innsbruck. Should be a nice flight. I'll be in the Avro RJ. He's going to take the A320. So if you don't follow him already, give him a follow so you can watch us fly together later on. You'll hear my voice again in his stream. Oh, predictions, yes. Thank you. That was an 89, I think it was. Taxiing and trying to read all that. I'm not sure how to cash in. I think I got it. Oops. Okay, cool. Thank you. Well, there we go. Somebody won for the first time. Kev, was that you that predicted that? Somebody won. Thank you for playing along on that. I don't know who that was, but congratulations on winning. You're not a jerk. As long as everybody had fun, that's all that matters. We had a bit of a history lesson. Had a nice, turned on the live weather and had some fun coming in here to Orly. This is a nice looking airport. Did I buy scenery for this? I might have. 'Cause this looks like legit. This doesn't look like a base model, although I know this area was supposed to have gotten a massive update, but I may have bought this airport too. I don't remember. Tell that to my wife and kids. Well, I can't help what your wife thinks about you, Kev. That's between you and her. See, you wouldn't get the frying pan so often, I would imagine, if you behaved yourself. Flying around that storm was cool. Yeah. It all worked out in the end. We made it. Appreciate it. Go park here at the gate. I'm curious. Well, so there are seats in the back, so it's no different than a regular DC-3. I would have thought they would have painted over the windows or something, made it into like a troop carrier of some kind. But that's all right. It's all good. Up here before the ads play here again. So yeah, I'll be back later today with Kev. London City to Innsbruck. He'll be in the A320. I'll be in the Avro RJ. I'm not sure which livery I'm going to fly, but it'll be something interesting. I'm going to probably pop in at about 12:30, Kev, to get the flight plan all set up. And wow, they gave us a nice parking spot here. Fly straight to him. Kev laid there in his own fly. Oh. Yes, I know the frying pan song, Kev. I've heard it a couple times. All right, there we go. And put those down. All right, let's get the we don't need all that on. And oh, we can open the doors and let our passengers off here. Get their luggage. There we go. Let's have a look real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Oh yeah, it's like a standard DC3. There's your coffee, Kev. Get your coffee on the way out. Don't forget. Get you a fresh cup on the way out. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a picture of this right here. That looks good. Right there. Bingo. All right. I think that's enough for today. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you again, Kev, for flying along. Appreciate it. And I will see you later on. I'll be in the chat. Oh, why don't we get everything started up a little bit beforehand, so I got everything plugged in before you go live. I'll just sit there at the airport, everything started up, ready to go. So once you're ready, I'll just keep everything paused. And yeah, I will. And there we go. So thank you all once again. See you, Sue. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody being here. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, early Sunday already. Some parts around the world, you know, that Dateline thing just messes everybody up. Anyway, I have been and always shall be your host, pilot, lead singer, driver of the airplane, Uncle B. Until next time, peace, live long and prosper.